A very good afternoon. Myself, Haroon Rashid Zargar from Department of Islamic Studies, ALIGARH Muslim University. I'm pursuing my research, and my research topic is contribution of Tariq Ramadan to Islamic Studies. And I'm very much lucky to have this auspicious occasion that I'm here with Professor Tariq Ramadan. Assalamu alaikum, Professor. How are you, sir?
Alhamdulillah, barakallahu feek. Thank you for studying what I'm trying to do and writing about it. Alhamdulillah.
Professor, it is my good luck to have you here in front of me. Not less than a dream completed. So, Professor, if we look at the situation, and origin as a faith and the development as a civilization and the culture, what we observed throughout the annals of history, there were various changes. So, what is your opinion regarding contextualizing the Islam in modern arena, in contemporary world?
First, I wouldn't put it that way. I wouldn't say that we are contextualizing Islam. We're just trying to be faithful to the Islamic message. So what we are contextualizing is our understanding that Islam should not be reformed and should not be contextualized. But our understanding of the Quran is going to change depending on the context within which we live. And today, in the world, Muslims are facing many challenges and many crises. So they have to make up their mind. They have to reinterpret not the fundamentals, because the fundamentals are not changing, but some of the answers that they have to, for example, the economic global system, the cultural dominant reality, the social dynamics and social justice. So they need to come with new answers because we are facing new challenges.
So, what you said that the basic fundamentals can never be changed. So, what approach should we adopt in order to maintain balance between a faith, which is static in nature, and ever-changing socio-political and economic arena or dynamic?
First, I don't think that faith is static in nature. You have the spiritual reality. Yeah, but the spirituality is ups and downs. And it's because we have downs that we need to reassess our understanding. So there is a connection between your faith being down and your understanding being superficial and not being clear. So when it comes to the fundamentals, yes, they are not going to change. But how do we know? And how do you get the methodology helping us to keep the fundamentals while we are moving? This is why we need two things. The first is a worldview. Our understanding of Tawheed, our understanding of our relationship to God, our relationship to the world, and our relationship to ourselves. So this is the principles should be understood within a big picture, a comprehensive approach, not only principles. It's the comprehensive approach that is helping you to get the pillars. It's because you know the home that you understand the meaning of the foundations. The foundations without home are not going to protect you, but home with foundations is going to protect you. So we need, the home is the vision, the pillars are the fundamentals, and then there is a way, the way forward. And this is where, as Muslims, we understand that in order to move and to be faithful to our home, in order to come back to home, which is the very meaning of Islam, we need to think about what are the principles in our worldview of the economic order, of culture, arts, social justice, political systems, ethical views on sciences, for example. These are things that are brought to our understanding through this ongoing reflections and intelligence, that it's important to understand the principles and the worldview. By the way, he didn't come with the water.
Thank you, Professor. So, as we are aware of the crisis going throughout the whole world, particularly what we say that humans are suffering in general and Muslims in particular, what approach should be of ours in order to overcome the situation?
As I have been repeating over the last 25 years, I think that we need to avoid the victim mentality. So yes, we are facing crisis. Yes, we are facing challenges, as I said, but we should avoid blaming the world and blaming, the dominant cultures. We have to look at ourselves and to try to assess what's wrong with us. Because there is nothing wrong with Islam, but there is many things that are wrong with Muslims. So, for example, we are facing an intellectual crisis. What is our intellectual contribution in so many fields? In the legal framework, but also in sciences. What is our contributions in economic alternatives? What is our contribution when it comes to experimental sciences or exact sciences? So I would say that what we need to assess is to get freed, to liberate ourselves from the victim mentality. Victimhood is never helping us. And we know it in the Quran. أَنْ حَسِبْتُمْ أَنْ تَدْخُلُوا الْجَنَّةَ وَلَمَّا يَأْتِكُمْ مَثَلُ الَّذِي خَلَوْا مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ. Do you think that you are going to be saved only by saying I'm a believer? And that's no. It's a struggle. It's difficult. So we need to get the right understanding here that there is no success if there is no effort. Success without efforts is nothing in spiritual terms.
So, Professor, what I got from this answer is that there is a need to introspect and there is a need to act.
Exactly.
A practical adherence to Islam.
Yeah.
So, Professor, you have been deeply connected to both Orient and Occident, and you have observed them very closely. What approach should be adopted in order to overcome or to maintain the balance between the two? Because they two are in tussle, or we can say in conflict with each other.
To bridge the divide between two universes of reference, you need to do at least three things. The first is to get it right from the beginning. If you are between two universes or two worlds, know that you are not going to please both sides. You are going to displease people here and displease people there, which is exactly what is happening to me. Many Muslims are not happy with the way I'm critical towards the way they read, but many Westerners, they are not happy because I'm critical towards the way they impose and they try to dominate. So you have enemies on both sides and you have friends on both sides. So you need to be prepared to face the enemies that want to clash with the others, that they are arrogant as to the other. We have this within the Muslim majority countries as well as in the Western countries. At the same time, what we also need to get, which is something which is positive, you have friends on both sides, Muslims and people of other faiths. And get me right, I'm not talking about non-Muslims, I'm talking about people of other faiths, because I want to call them the way they call themselves. They don't call themselves non-Muslims, they call themselves Christians and Hindus and Buddhists and whatever. So we need to be prepared to do this. And the third element is to get an intellectual openness, which means whatever is good in the two universes of reference, you take it. So there are many things in the West that are more ethical than what we find in Muslim majority countries. And there are still things in the Muslim majority countries that are lost in the West when it comes, for example, to very simple things when it comes to generosity, humanity, family, and all this. So this is the way we have to bridge the divide between the two universes of reference, knowing it's not easy, knowing that you are facing with these new emotional politics today that is putting people emotionally one against the other.
So, Professor, what I got is that there is a need to ignore the bad and to collect the good and to adopt a universal approach and a humanitarian ground. So, Professor, as I'm a student of Islamic studies and civilization, I would like to have some suggestions from me, because the youth, I think, are the assets and the wealth of a community and humanity. What approach I should adopt for my future works?
I would say do not reduce Islamic studies to fiqh. It's not only Islamic law and jurisprudence. Islamic law and jurisprudence are means of an end and an understanding and a worldview which is bigger than that. So start with the big picture and know what you can contribute within this. Not only by being a specialist with the law, but to get a sense of the philosophy of the law. Not only to be a specialist on what is halal and what is haram, which is needed. We need scholars to do that. But we need scholars also who had an understanding of these are means. And I'm always saying something that the Muslims that always get, and sometimes I have to repeat this. You know the starting point of shirk. Shirk meaning associating somebody or something to God, or to confuse the goals, that you are not trying to target the essential goal, which is to please God, but you confuse the means with the goals. This is shirk. So if your understanding is everything has to do with halal and haram, and you don't understand that these are means to a deeper and a better worship in order to please God, if you think that the very meaning of your life is just to be obsessed with the haram and not to try to please God, there is a problem. Because you take the means for the end. And I think the end is to please Him. And how do you please Him? Change yourself, change the world.
So, Professor, yesterday you talked about reforms, adaptive reforms and reformative reforms. Transformational reforms. Sorry. So, as you have visited India various times and Eastern society various times, what approach should we adopt here?
Everywhere it's the same. We need to have a transformational reform. You are not, I don't think that your Indian Muslims should adapt to the state of affairs. I'm just going and visiting the country, lots of poverty. I was just in old Delhi right now,
yeah.
And you look at the state of Muslims, it's just a pity. It's wrong. So there is something wrong in our society, in your society as Indians. So are you going to adapt to this, or are you going to change it? So we need to have a mindset which is very humble with God. Because we know that if He doesn't want things to change, they're not going to change. But if He wants, anything is possible. The last words of my book, Radical Reform, is remember that when you are with God, everything is possible. Even if you think it's impossible, for you it's impossible, for Him it's possible.
Yeah.
So be positive. And then be committed with human beings. Be ambitious. Be courageous. Be active, as we said before. So this is something which is necessary. I understand.
Professor, when we come to reform and when we speak about reform, and there are two approaches which Muslims are following today, is that traditional approach and modern approach. So don't you think that there will be some conflict or some crisis when it comes to the conflict between the two? What should we do in order to maintain the balance between traditional approach and reformative or modern approach?
It could be if you don't have a deep understanding of Islam. If you go and you are obsessed with reforming at the price of the principles, you are going to be lost. And if you are so protective as to the principles that you are not courageous enough to open up your mind, you're not going to move. So it's the most difficult thing in Islam is also always to be balanced. أقيموا الوزن بالقسط. التوازن, which means how do we deal with this balanced approach? Keep the tradition, know that all traditions are moving, and try to move on.
Okay,
So how many questions still?
last one. There is what I got is that there is a need to reform at individual level also and collective level also.
Not only, it's the transformational reform, it's a mindset. It's you have to reform the way you deal with yourself, because we know today which type of challenge. We are in a world where the dominant culture is nurturing addiction. So you have a phone and you are telling you the next one is good. So you have to leave this one and to go to the next one. So we are always in need. We are always addicted to. So it's the same. Internet. All these social networks are nurturing the sense of addiction. And addiction is alienation. So yes, we have to reform the way we deal with our own independence, intellectual independence and spiritual independence. But it's not only this, we have also to deal with economic realities and cultural realities. The dominant culture today is also very difficult to deal with. So we always have to be involved in reforming every level, at every level, and in the deepest way possible, inshallah, God willing.
So what I got is that there is a need to maintain a balance between matter and spirit.
Between?
Matter and spirituality, materialistic spirituality.
Yeah, between heart and mind and body, body and heart. وَمِن كُلِّ شَيْءٍ خَلَقْنَا زَوْجَيْنِ. God is saying in the Quran, we created couples from everything except Him. So, in everything, what is right with the couple is balance. Nothing more, but nothing less.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Allah barik fik. Jazakumullah.